Thanks for the privilege of your time. This is the SALVANT report. My name is LEGRAND Parisien SALVANT. WOTS 1220 AM, Kissimmee, Orlando. Radio Delta 88.9 FM, Long Island, New York. WSUV 960 AM, On the Wall Beat, Palm Beach and Treasure Coast. To all our listeners, welcome. And thanks for the privilege of your time. To help you understand the world we live in, the SALVANT report has always garnered information from several sources, using recent reports in order to shed light on multiple events happening around the world. And today we're going to check on China. Our subject is the real China model. What is China doing? We're going back to 2013. On 2013, the President of China, Xi Jinping, put out a project, a world project. It's an initiative, the Belt and the Road. And when they put out the document, the State Council Information Office of the People's Republic of China, in September 2023, meaning 10 years after the project, the preface of their document reads like this: in the universe, there is only one Earth, the shared home of humanity. Unfortunately, this planet on which we rely on for our subsistence is facing immense and unprecedented crises, both known and unknown, both foreseeable and unforeseeable. Whether human civilization can survive these has become an existential issue that must be squarely faced. More and more people have come to the realization that rather than amassing material wealth, the most pressing task is to find a guiding beacon for the sustainable development of human civilization, because we all care about our future. Therefore, when we're looking at China now, we must go back 15 years ago and see what they were planning and work on their plan. So in 2023, the State Council Information Office of the People's Republic of China said that 10 years ago, that's in 2013, President Xi Jinping propounded the idea of building a global community of shared future, answering a question raised by the world, by history, by the time. A question raised by the world, by history, and by the time. And the question, where is humanity headed? Where is humanity headed? And for the President of China, Xi Jinping, to build a global community of shared future, all people, all countries, and all individuals, our destinies being interconnected, must stand together in adversity and through thick and thin, navigating towards greater harmony on this planet that we call home. China put down a plan and they walk their plan. And the president of China, Xi Jinping, first raised the vision of a global community of shared future when addressing the Moscow State Institute of International Relations in 2013. It's not just that he decided because his instinct told tell him that he must do that, but we can see there was some planification where Monsieur Xi Jinping wanted the country to be. The same thing happened in 2015. 2013, that was the initiative, the Belt and the Road, and 2015, the planners in Beijing unveiled what they call Made in China 225. That was 10 years ago. In 2015, they unveiled Made in China 2025. It wasn't just like they decide because they wake up on the right side of the bed and they're going to come up with a plan and say Made in China 2025. 10 years ago. And what was Made in China 2025? It was an ambitious scheme to take leadership of the industries of the future. Let's give credit to Dan Wang and Arthur Kuber, who wrote a fantastic article, a piece on the foreign affairs with the same title, The Real China Model. China wanted to take the leadership of the industries of the future. What this plan did, the plan identified 10 sectors for investment, including energy, semiconductors, industrial automation, and high-tech materials. It aimed to upgrade China's manufacturing in these sectors and others, reduce the country's dependence on imports and foreign firms, and improve the competitiveness of Chinese companies in global market. Made in China 2025. An ambitious scheme to take leadership of the industries of the future. The overreaching goal was to transform China into a technological leader and turn China's national champion firms into global ones. And what did the government? What is the government is doing? The government backed this vision with enormous financial support, spending 1 to 2% of their GDP each year on direct or indirect subsidies, cheap credit, and tax break. And China has been widely successful in this effort. That's the model. What are the consequences? What are the results? It not only, China we're talking about, not only leads the world in electric vehicle and clean technology power generation, it is also dominant in drones, industrial automation, and other electronic products. Chinese firms are on track to master the most sophisticated technological good produced by the US, Europe, and other parts of Asia. China has created industries in which dozens of competitors manufacture similar products and struggle to make a profit, unfortunately. China's economy, which once looked poised to overtake the US as a whole as the world's biggest, is mired in a slowdown and may never match the American in total output. And the reason is just because China poured too much money on this project, because China wanted to be the world leaders in the of the industries of the future. He wanted to take the leadership of the industries of the future. All the industries of the future, all of them. And China has identified 10 sectors for investment because he wanted to take the leadership of the industries of the future. Meaning, these guys are thinking not because of their instinct, and their instinct tell them to do this, but there is some plan. China has problem, but these problems are not trivial. And it is a serious error to think that they are big enough to derail China's technological momentum. Beijing policy, not simply because Planner picked the right sector and subsidies them. It worked because the state built out the deep infrastructure needed to become a resilient technological powerhouse. All these things work. It's just because China, the state, built out the deep infrastructure needed to become a resilient technological powerhouse. It created also an innovation ecosystem centered on powerful electricity and digital networks, and he established a massive workforce with advanced manufacturing knowledge. Call it an all of the above technological strategy. This approach has enabled China to develop new technologies and scale them up faster than any other country. Its model is unlikely to be pushed off course by sluggish economic growth of US. American policymakers must recognize that their playbook, export control, tariff, and scattered shot industrial policy is ineffective. The United States should compete with China to keep its overall technological leadership and sustain the industries needed for broad-based prosperity and national security. Xiaoming's triumph on the racetrack there is a racetrack nicknamed Green Hell in Germany, Western Germany. And the cars that have typically performed best on that Green Hell racetrack are designed by celebrated German companies such as BMW, Porsche, and Mercedes, and by long-established manufacturers in Italy, Japan, and South Korea. But in June 2025, there was a surprise. There was a surprise. And it was set by Xiaomi, a Chinese company better known for its moderately priced smartphone and rice cookers. And what happened? It produced its first car only a year before. But Xiaomi nonetheless made the third fastest car, electric or otherwise, ever to race through the Green Hell. Xiaomi's triumph on the racetrack was a symbol of China's surprisingly swift rise to clean energy dominance. Do you know, China made nearly 3/4 of the world's electric vehicle in 2024 and accounted for 40% of global EV export. And China has a lock on the solar supply chain. Chinese companies make most of the world's battery, both for EVs and for other use. And the country, we're talking about the China model, the country produces 60% of the electrolyzers used to extract hydrogen from water. 60% to extract hydrogen from water, which is the most effective way to produce clean hydrogen-based power. For the US, the American policymakers simply trying to slow China down will not work. Some of China's infrastructure consists of transportation systems such as road, railways, and ports. And over the last 30 years, China has built a national expressway network twice the length of the American interstate system, a high-speed network with more miles of track than the rest of the world combined, and a formidable network of ports, the largest of which is Shanghai, and Shanghai moves more cargo in some years than all US ports put together. The China model, you cannot stop China and you won't stop it. Far from blocking China's progress, US tech restrictions have triggered a Sputnik moment in China. Its companies are bigger, meaner, and significantly less dependent on US companies than they were just a decade ago. The White House claims that the tariff will force manufacturers to make their goods on American soil once the restrictions take full effect. But the administration's analysis is faulty. Manufacturers depend on import for many of their inputs, and they have proved reluctant to make big investment decisions based on the American president's wavering pronouncement. In fact, US shed over 10,000 manufacturing jobs between April and June alone, after the president announced his plan to impose high tariff on virtually every country. The US does retain its advantage over China in several critical areas: software, biotech, and AI, as well as in its university-driven innovation ecosystem. However, the United States can and should reverse the president's spending cuts and immigration restriction as soon as is feasible. Washington's failing extend a cost administration for a reason. American officials, Democrat and Republican alike, have not taken China's competence seriously. China doesn't innovate, it steals, wrote Arkansas Senator Tom Cotton on social media in April, epitomizing how American trivialize Chinese accomplishment. They need to realize that no matter how hard the United States squeezes, it will not break China's industrial and technological system. What Washington should do is strengthen its own capacity. China models has worked because its policymakers have gotten a lot of things right and have given Chinese entrepreneurs the condition for success. The country may have problems, but it will continue to be effective. And the longer it succeeds, the more the US and its allies will deindustrialize under pressure from Chinese firms in energy, industrial goods, and perhaps even artificial intelligence. If the US is to compete effectively, its policymakers must spend less time worrying about how to weaken their rival and more time figuring out how to make their country the best and most vigorous of itself. Thank you for your time. This is the SALVANT report. See you next time.